Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the YouTube channel of Pratham Test Prep. My name is Hema Chaudhary, and today I'm here with the newspaper analysis session. And when we talk about this particular session, we need to talk about the important news from all the major newspaper like the Hindu, Indian Express, Hindustan Times, and the Economic Times. And why are we covering the news from these newspaper? We need to understand that when we talk about CLAT, AILET, or other law entrance exam and other entrance exam at the undergraduate level, we need to remember that these are the newspaper from where the passages have been picked in the CLAT paper and the news have been picked for other exams also. So if we talk about the daily newspaper analysis session, right, we do this session on 5 days a week, which is from Monday to Friday, and the timing is 11:30 a.m. So if you guys are preparing for CLAT, AILET, or any other undergrad entrance exam or any competitive exam, these newspaper analysis sessions are really helpful for you, right? So let's just quickly start with the important information on which all type of news do we cover in these sessions. So we cover the important national news, we cover the important international news, we also cover the important news related to appointments and resignation. So that means यहाँ पे we are focusing on person. So person in news, or we are mainly focusing on the post in news, right? Along with that, we also talk about the economic and finance related news. We also focus mainly on the summits and conferences. सो इंटरनेशनल लेवल पे जो समिट्स कॉन्फ्रेंसेस एंड मीटिंग्स एंड इवेंट्स होते हैं दे आर वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट फ्रॉम द एग्जामिनेशन पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू. मेनली अगर कोई इंटरनेशनल समिट या कॉन्फ्रेंस इंडिया में होती है और इंडिया इज अ पार्ट ऑफ दैट पर्टिकुलर कॉन्फ्रेंस समिट मीटिंग और इवेंट, देन those news are really important from the examination point of view. Then we also cover the important science and tech news. Then we also cover the important sports news. Then इसके अलावा if there are any news related to bills and amendments, right, any legal news is there, so we also cover that. And last but not the least, we cover the miscellaneous type of news जिसमें हम business news को भी include कर सकते हैं. We can include the news related to art and culture like festivals, events and all अगर उसकी बात करें. So we cover all those type of news in this session. Now, let's just start this session with a beautiful quotation for the day. And that quotation is, if your voice is high, only a few people will hear to you, right? But if your thoughts are high, then many people will listen to you. इसी के साथ one more thing, as you guys are preparing for the entrance examination and other examination, it is very important that you focus on the hard study or you focus on the hard work. So study hard, no matter if it seems impossible, no matter if it's taking a lot of time, no matter if you have to up all night, just remember that the feeling of success is the best thing in the entire universe, right? So focus should be on study hard. I'll say along with study hard, you need to study smart also, right? And you need to stay focused to achieve the success, right? So now when we talk about the YouTube sessions by Pratham Test Prep along with the daily newspaper analysis session, which we are doing on 5 days a week, right, Monday to Friday 8:30 a.m. अगर हम बात करें तो obviously इसके साथ we are doing other sessions also like deep dive on Thursday and Tuesday, right, at 3 p.m. We are also doing current affairs Samvad to cover the daily current affairs, and we are doing these sessions on twice a week, which is on Monday and Friday, and we are doing these session on 8:30 p.m. Then we also do thrice a week the legal Darpan session to cover all the important legal news. So this particular session is really very important for all these students preparing for law entrance exam, and we are doing this session at 3 p.m. Then, along with this, we are also providing the session for vocabulary to strengthen your vocabulary by calling it as boost your vocabulary or vocabulary. We are doing these session on thrice a week, Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday at 8:30 p.m. Then we are doing maths mudda and logical reasoning, जो हम करते हैं twice a month. and the date and the timings will be decided right later on or as per the need and the requirement. So if you want to know कि कब ये sessions होने हैं and to get the notification of all the upcoming sessions and the videos by Pratham Test Prep, what you need to do is you need to subscribe the channel, and most important, don't forget to press the bell icon so that you can get the notifications of all the upcoming sessions and the videos. तो चलिए इसी के साथ शुरू करते हैं अपनी पहली न्यूज़ के साथ आज का डेली न्यूज़पेपर एनालिसिस सेशन. दिस इज रिलेटेड टू COP15 समिट. COP stands for Conference of Parties. सो 15th कॉन्फ्रेंस ऑफ पार्टीज है, इसीलिए इसको COP15 बोला जा रहा है. COP15 समिट अडॉप्टेड द हिस्टोरिक बायोडाइवर्सिटी डील. सो पीस पैक्ट विद नेचर. वी नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड दैट व्हेन वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट COP15, इसका मेन फोकस वाज ऑन पीस with nature, right? And इसी के लिए another focus was on biodiversity. And when we talk about this COP15 adopted the deal related to biodiversity. So Kunming Montreal Pact जो था, you need to remember this also. So यहाँ जो मैं pointers लिख रही हूँ आपको इनके बारे में पता भी होना चाहिए. So Kunming Montreal Pact जो है, it hailed as a landmark to protect biodiversity, and there are few important pointers. So China के जो minister है Huang Rongqi, he passed the deal in Montreal, right, that too on Monday. So 30 by 30 is the concept जिसको focus किया जा रहा है. 30 by 30 क्या मतलब है 30 by 30 का? The cornerstone of the agreement is the so-called 30 by 30 goal. And what exactly is this 30 by 30 goal? It is the pledge to protect 30% of the world's land and seas by 2030. This 30 stands for 30% of the world's land and seas, and this 30 stands for 2030. So this is 30 by 30 goal, and which was announced and adopted in the COP15. Now, indigenous rights were very important along with 30 by 30. So indigenous rights were addressed throughout the text during this meeting, including the areas covered by the 30 by 30 pledge. So इसमें main क्या है? Safeguarding the indigenous people's right to remain steward of land they use, and also ensuring that they are not subject to mass eviction in the process of achieving the target of 30 by 30. Now, finance क्यों important है? We need to understand that if we are targeting 30 by 30 goal, obviously it will not be easy without any funding and investment and finance. So the text approaches the objective for rich countries to provide at least $20 billion per year by 2025 and at least $30 billion per year by 2030. And this has been proposed from rich countries, right? Approximately double and then triple the current international aid for specifically for the biodiversity part, right? So इससे क्या होगा? It will create a kind of trust fund. It will create a kind of trust fund within the existing financial mechanism called ग्लोबल इन्वायरमेंट फैसिलिटी. इसी के अंडर ये ट्रस्ट फंड जो है वो डेवलप हो जाएगा, राइट, एंड इट विल बी अ स्टेपिंग स्टोन टू द न्यू फंड इन द फ्यूचर. तो इसको थोड़ा और डिटेल में समझते हैं. आफ्टर 4 years, just a second, after 4 years of fractious talk, nearly 200 countries, जिसमें इंडिया भी इंक्लूडेड है, they approved a historic Paris style deal on Monday to protect and reverse the dangerous loss of global biodiversity. Right now, following an intense final session of negotiation at the United Nations COP15 summit, जो कि कहाँ हुई? कनाडा में. Now ये एक डायरेक्ट क्वेश्चन आ सकता है कि कौन ऑर्गेनाइज करता है COP? सो यूनाइटेड नेशन. कौन सा एडिशन था? इट वॉज 15th एडिशन. कहाँ हुआ? कनाडा में. मेन फोकस किस पे था? बायोडाइवर्सिटी, राइट, जिसमें क्या फोकस किया गया? मेनली 30 by 30 and indigenous peoples, right. Now amid applause, Chinese environmental minister जो है, जिनका नाम है वांग रुनकी, right, who was the president ऑफ COP15 बायोडाइवर्सिटी समिट, जो कि 7 दिसंबर को स्टार्ट हुई थी, ही डिक्लेयर्ड द कनमिंग मॉन्ट्रियल एग्रीमेंट वाज अडॉप्टेड. सो द नेम ऑफ द एग्रीमेंट दैट वाज गिवन वाज कनमिंग मॉन्ट्रियल एग्रीमेंट, which is related to which sector? Biodiversity. And किसने पास किया? चाइना के एनवायरमेंट मिनिस्टर ने. क्या नाम है? हुआंग रुंग की. राइट. सो ये किस कंट्री से है? चाइना. सो COP15 में विच कंट्री हैड द प्रेसिडेंटशिप? सो आंसर इज चाइना. सो आपसे इस तरह के क्वेश्चंस पूछे जा सकते हैं. Also, it was focused on to ignore the Congo's last-minute refusal, demanding greater funding for the developing countries. So China brokered जो ये deal है, right? It is aimed at saving the land, ocean species, mainly from the pollution, degradation, and the climate change, because we all know that climate change has become a major challenge in front of us, and it has also monitored the wildlife population that have been seen devastating 69% drop on the average since 1970, and this data was provided by the World Wildlife Fund. So यहाँ पे you need to know about the World Wildlife Fund also. So you need to study about WWF. इसके बारे में थोड़ा आप जरूर पढ़ लीजिएगा. And the report was released with the title Living Planet Report 2022. Now Indian Environment Minister की अगर हम बात करें, जिनका नाम है भूपेंद्र यादव, he was also a part of this negotiation, and he informed the Hindu newspaper that the agreement was positive as far as India was concerned, right? So India was agreed on all the points discussed in the deal and signed in the deals. Now he also laid out India's position that the goals and the targets set in the global biodiversity framework, it ought to be ambitious, and as well as they are realistic and practical. That means it can be achieved, right? So that was the first important news related to COP15 held in Canada. Presidentship was there with China, and the main aim or the main focus was on biodiversity, and the deal which was signed named as Kunming Montreal Agreement. नाउ सेकेंड न्यूज पे अगर हम फोकस करें, पार्लियामेंट प्रोसीडिंग्स, यहाँ पे हम बात कर रहे हैं नोट इन सर्कुलेशन राइज अराउंड 8% एनुअली, विच इज 32 लाख करोड़. सो फाइनेंस मिनिस्टर जो है हमारी निर्मला सीतारमन, उन्होंने ये कहा है, राइट. सो यहाँ पे देर आर मेन पॉइंटर्स दैट यू नीड टू फोकस, दैट कितना सर्कुलेशन बना है 8%, कितना अमाउंट 32 lakh crore. So both the government and the RBI, they have taken measures to promote a less cash economy and encourage digital payment. That we all know that 2017-16 के बाद से ही इस चीज पे हम फोकस कर रहे हैं. And also पार्लियामेंट प्रोसीडिंग्स में ये भी कहा गया that loans with 10.09 lakh crore written off in 5 years, right? Now अगर इसको हम और डिटेल में समझे, पहला पॉइंट, लोन्स अमाउंटिंग टू ओवर, यू नीड टू रिमेंबर दिस, 10.09 lakh crore they have been written off by the scheduled commercial banks in the past 5 financial year. पहला डेटा. दूसरा, बट जो प्रोसेस ऑफ रिकवरीज ऑफ ड्यू था फ्रॉम द NPA विच इज नॉन परफॉर्मिंग एसेट अकाउंट्स, इट इज एन ऑन गोइंग प्रोसेस, राइट. सो ये फाइनेंस मिनिस्टर ने बताया इन दी लोकसभा. सो इट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट दैट आपको ये पता हो दैट व्हेन वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट निर्मला सीतारमन, शी इज द फाइनेंस मिनिस्टर. एंड यहाँ पे क्योंकि बात आई है लोकसभा की, जिसके सामने ये डेटा प्रेजेंट किया है हमारी फाइनेंस मिनिस्टर ने, सो यू नीड टू रिमेंबर द नेम ऑफ स्पीकर ऑफ लोकसभा, एंड द नेम इज ओम बिरला, राइट. थर्ड, उनके जो जूनियर कोलीग एंड मिनिस्टर ऑफ स्टेट फॉर फाइनेंस है भागवत किशन राव कराड, इन्होंने भी कहा दैट एज पर RBI गाइडलाइंस, names of the loans defaulters could be disclosed only once their assets were put up for action. तभी डिस्क्लोज किया जाएगा, उससे पहले नहीं किया जाएगा. सो यहाँ पे RBI का भी नाम आया. सो यू नीड टू नो द स्टैटिक इंफॉर्मेशन रिलेटेड टू दिस. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, RBI was established in 1935 after the RBI Act 1934 on the recommendation of Hilton Young Commission, right? एंड अगर हम बात करें इसकी आरबीआई, इट वाज nationalized in the year 1949. The first governor of RBI was Sir Osborne Smith. कौन थे? Sir Osborne Smith. But if we talk about the first Indian governor, the first Indian governor of RBI was C.D. Deshmukh, and current governor of RBI is Shaktikant Das. तो आपको ये pointers सब पता होने चाहिए. Then another information was given that मिस सीतारमन, निर्मला सीतारमन की यहाँ बात हो रही है, उन्होंने कहा दैट आरबीआई का जो डेटा पॉइंट है टू दी पब्लिक सेक्टर बैंक्स दैट रिकवर्ड around 4,80,111 crores, which includes 1,03,045 crore का written off loan during the last 5 years. So data पे you need to focus. आपको data याद होना चाहिए, percentage, amount, you need to focus on these pointers. Now, as per the inputs given or received from RBI, scheduled commercial banks जो हैं, they have written off an amount of around 10,09,511 crores loan, and ये हुआ है पिछले 5 सालों में. And if we talk about the borrowers of the written off loans, they continue to be liable for the repayment, and banks के पास जो बचे आप कह सकते हो responsibility of recovering the various recovery mechanism, they can adopt that which is available, like filing of a suit in civil courts or debt recovery tribunals. They can take those actions against the borrowers. The minister also added that जो action it has been already taken under the scrutinization and reconstruction of the Financial Assets and Enforcement of Security Interest Act of the year 2002, right, as well as the case filed in the National Company Law Tribunal under the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code 2016. तो बच्चे आपको ये याद होना चाहिए, the Act of 2002 and the act that we are talking about, the code National Company Law Tribunal under the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code 2016. So they, through negotiated settlement and compromise and the sale of NP, उसको already recover कर चुके हैं. So yes, we can say that therefore the write-off does not benefit the borrowers, right? So that was the second news, financial economic news थी. Now अगली news देखते हैं, एयर क्वालिटी टर्न सिवियर, एंड इसी के साथ बीजेपी ने रिक्वेस्ट किया है एलजी को टू इंटरवीन इन दिस एंड कॉल an all party meeting to control this. So BJP takes on Delhi government over the issue of air pollution that we all are facing on day-to-day basis, right? Says that the lack of public transport force people to buy private vehicles, which lead to spike in the air quality index. And government ने promise किया था 10 smoke towers, delivered only 1 during this time, which is not even functional. So BJP leaders का कहना है that the air quality likely to improve marginally over coming days, but the Delhi government needs to have a party meeting to improve the air quality and to discuss about it. Now, we need to focus on the pointers like the capital's air quality. It is deteriorated to the severe category right on Monday and continues after that day. The air quality index was 410, up from 353 on Sunday, according to 4 p.m. bulletin जो release किया था CPCB ने, which stands for Central Pollution Control Board. And when the air quality is in the severe category of air pollution, it affects the healthy people and seriously impact those with the existing disease. So it can be harmful. It is very much harmful for the citizens, and the city's air quality is expected to improve slightly to the very poor category on Tuesday and Wednesday. So let's see. So an air quality index between 3012 to 400 is termed as very poor, and 401 and 500 is severe, and higher air quality indicates an increase in air pollution. So how can it be controlled by smoke towers, and इससे related क्या discussions हुए थे, क्या promise हुए थे, उसको समझते हैं. So taking on the Delhi governments over the issue, Ramveer Singh Biduri जो है, who is the leader of opposition in Delhi Assembly, so आपको इनका नाम याद होना चाहिए, उन्होंने कहा that city government has not taken any any concrete step towards controlling the air pollution, जिसमें है failure of providing promised smoke towers. भारतीय जनता पार्टी लीडर ने रिक्वेस्ट किया है लेफ्टिनेंट गवर्नर विनय कुमार सक्सेना को that he should interfere in the matter and call an all party meeting. And when we talk about LOP, leader of opposition, उन्होंने ये भी कहा है that the government had failed to improve the city's public transport facility which aggravated the air pollution. And इसी के साथ आम आदमी पार्टी जो है they promised about 15,000 buses in on Delhi roads, but they are way behind from their promise thing. आप देख सकते हो कितनी promise की गई 15,000, but only 3,760 buses are left in the fleet of Delhi Transport Corporation, and most of which are already past their use by date. That means again it can contribute in the air pollution. नाउ दिल्ली के जो स्पोक्स पर्सन है हरीश खुराना, उन्होंने कहा दैट आप गवर्नमेंट हैड प्रॉमिस्ड टू सेट अप 10 smoke towers in the city but installed only one such tower, and it was also not functional. It is also not functional even now, and government has already spent 22.91 crore in the setting up the smoke tower. वो कहाँ यूज हुआ है वो हम खुद अंदाजा लगा सकते हैं, and the cost of the its maintenance for just 3 months of this year, which is March, April and May, and ये भी समझो that it is not still functional. It was around 2.58 crore, and despite having pumped all this money, the power is not even running. Now what about the meteorological factors? So experts attribute कर रहे हैं the increase in cities air quality index to meteorological factors, that there is a radiative fog due to colder temperature and higher relative humidity. It can also tends to increase the pollution level as particles are suspended with the water molecules in the atmosphere, which can further, you can say that, further participate in increasing the air pollution and thus increasing the air quality index or the score in the air quality index. So ये inform किया है the project director of सफर ने, जिनका नाम है गुफरान बेग. Right, so that was the another important news. Now next news, January 6 panel urges Donald Trump's prosecution with criminal reference. So the House committee is recommending the criminal charges against the Trump and its associate who helped in to launch a multifaceted pressure campaign to try to overturn his 2020 election loss. 2020 election loss को लेके क्रिमिनल चार्जेस लगाने की बात की जा रही है. किस पे? फॉर्मर प्रेसिडेंट पे, जिनका क्या नाम है, डोनाल्ड ट्रम्प. काफी कंट्रोवर्शियल रहा है इनका टाइम, दैट वी ऑल नो. राइट नाउ इफ यू टॉक अबाउट नेक्स्ट, वी कैन से दैट the House 6 committee, it urged the Justice Department to bring criminal charges against former President Donald Trump and his allies, which wrapping up it in the investigation of the violent 2021 Capitol attack. You all should remember this insurrection and what lawmakers called it a roadmap to justice, as they cap one of the most exhaustive and aggressive कॉन्ग्रेशनल प्रॉब्स इन द मेमोरी. आपको 2021 कैपिटॉल के बारे में पता होना चाहिए. एंड पैनल में देर आर 7 डेमोक्रेट्स and 2 Republicans. They are recommending the criminal charges against the Trump and associate who helped in to launch the multifaceted pressure campaign to try to overturn his 2020 election loss. And when we talk about this panel, they are also demanding to release a lengthy summary of its final report with findings that Trump was engaged in the multi-part conspiracy to overturn the election. Right? Okay. Now committee ने ये भी allegations लगाए हैं that there are violations of 4 criminal statuses by the Trump in both the run-up to the riot and during the insurrection itself, as it recommended for the former president to prosecution to the Justice Department. Right? दूसरा, the charges recommended by the committee are conspiracy to defraud United States, obstruction of an official proceedings of the Congress, second, and third, conspiracy to make a false statement and aiding an insurrection. So these four criminal statuses have been, हम कह सकते हैं violations have been done by Donald Trump. And when a criminal referral is mostly symbolic, with the Justice Department ultimately deciding to prosecute, dump or others associated with it. So अगर हम यहाँ पे बात करें चेयरमैन बेनी थॉम्सन की, अगर हम बात करें राइट, चेयरमैन बेनी थॉम्सन दे मिस, उसने कहा है that the criminal justice system can provide accountability, adding, we have every confidence that the work of this committee will help provide a roadmap to justice. And he lost the 2020 election and knew, he already knew it, but he chose to try to stay in office through multi-part scheme to overturn the result and block the transfer of the power. So इस चीज पे लगाया जा रहा है, राइट. सो यहाँ पे इस चीज पे फोकस करना है. एंड व्हेन वी टॉक अबाउट योमिंग रेपलेस नाय, द पैनल्स रिपब्लिकन वाइस चेयर विमेन, उन्होंने भी कहा है दैट एवरी प्रेसिडेंट इन अमेरिकन हिस्ट्री हैज defended the orderly transfer of the power except one, right. The committee voted 9-0 to approve its final report, which will include findings, interview transcript and legislative recommendation for the same. That was all about that news. Now next news, over 9 million Twitter users vote to oust Musk as CEO. So Twitter user voted on Monday to oust its controversial owner Elon Musk as CEO in a poll he organized and promised to honor just weeks after he took charge. 57.5% Twitter user vote to oust the Musk as firm CEO, right? And Twitter users voted to oust its controversial owner Elon Musk as CEO in poll that he himself organized, right? Just a second. Yeah, that he himself organized and promised to honor the decision, right? Just weeks after he took charge of the social media giant. So कितने लोगों ने किया है वोट? 57.5% of more than 17 million accounts voted for him to step down, and Mr. Musk has not yet responded. But remember, he promised to honor the decision, and Twitter users were told that they would no longer be able to promote content from other social media sites. However, Elon Musk a few hours later wrote the policy would be limited to suspending accounts only when the account's primary purpose is promotion of the competitors, right? Okay, so that was the important news. यहाँ पे you need to focus on Twitter, you need to remember the facts related to it, and you need to know about Elon Musk, right? You need to know about the Twitter employees who were laid off, and especially Indian employees, right? So you need to read all those news related to that. Now, next news, state faced a tough time in raising the finances following the restrictions imposed by the center. So state government jo hai, they are facing so many issues in raising finances to meet its commitment for the flagship program like Dalit Bandhu, Ritu Bandhu, etc. So इसको थोड़ा सा डिटेल में पढ़ते हैं यहाँ पे, that the state government has faced several problems in raising the finances to meet its commitment for flagship program like Dalit Bandhu, Raitu Bandhu and others during the current years, and they thanked it to the restriction imposed by the Union Finance Ministry over the open market borrowing. So Union Finance Ministry has restricted the open market borrowing, जिसकी वजह से the states are facing issues in getting the finances to meet their the needs and requirements for their flagship program. And the state which could raise market borrowings without any hassles till March was however restrained from raising resources since April, although its financial commitment have been increased over a period of time. And in addition to the salaries and the wages and the pensions amounting to 45,000 crore this fiscal year, there were commitments like Raitu Bandhu, right, and Dalit Bandhu, jiska amount was 15,000 करोड़, राइट। एंड अगर हम बात करें दूसरा दलित बंधु, राइट, यहाँ पे आपको ये याद होना चाहिए दैट यहाँ पे हम बात कर रहे हैं, यहाँ पे नाउ इफ यू कैन सी दैट यहाँ पे वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट अगेन एंड अगेन दी स्टेट गवर्नमेंट। यहाँ पे हम बात कर रहे हैं किस स्टेट की, वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट तेलंगाना, जिसने मेनली फोकस किया है अपना राइतु बंधु एंड आपका दे दलित बंधु पे, राइट। सो आप देख सकते हो यहाँ पे दैट इट इज facing a lot of issue, and this trouble started in the initial stages of financial year with the center not allowing the borrowings at the time when the state had projected capital receipt in the form of borrowings and liabilities at around 59,000 crores for the year. Now CAG report की अगर हम बात करें, यहाँ पे CAG stands for Comptroller and Auditor General of इंडिया, लेकिन यहाँ पे हम बात कर रहे हैं CAG की। सो CAG के इन इट स्टेट फाइनेंस ऑडिट रिपोर्ट फ्रॉम 31st March 2021, he said that Telangana's percentage of total outstanding liabilities to GSDP was to 28.11 within 29.5%, ceiling fixed by the Finance Commission. ठीक है, which Finance Commission? 15th Finance Commission, राइट। सो यहाँ पे बच्चे आपको CAG के बारे में पता होना चाहिए। यू शुड हैव द इंफॉर्मेशन रिलेटेड टू CAG के CAG को अपॉइंट कौन करता है, करेंटली कौन है, कितना टर्म या टेन्योर होता है, राइट, एंड ऑल दोज फैक्ट। एंड देन यू नीड टू नो अबाउट द 15th फाइनेंस कमीशन, मेन पर्पस क्या है, हु इज द चेयरमैन एंड एवरीथिंग। तो यू नीड टू फोकस ऑन द स्टैटिक इंफॉर्मेशन रिलेटेड टू दैट। CAG ने ये भी कहा है दैट तेलंगाना गवर्नमेंट जो है इट इज नॉट फुली डिस्क्लोजिंग द गारंटीज गिवन टू इट बाय वेरियस इंस्टीट्यूशन, एंड ये भी कहा है दैट इसका डुअल इम्पैक्ट हो सकता है ऑन डाइल्यूटिंग फाइनेंशियल मैनेजमेंट एंड लेजिस्लेटिव ओवरसाइट, राइट। एंड सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट ये भी इंसिस्ट कर रही है दैट द ऑफ बजट बोरोइंग्स, जिसमें कि गारंटीज एंड लोन्स आते हैं in the name of various corporation, they would be brought under the FRBM Act purview, right? But जो state government है, the state registered its projects against the sudden change in the center's stance, claiming that budget estimates of borrowings were made after taking the latter's consent, right? So repeated players have been sent in vain, and the state could not raise the OMBs as expected during April and May. And जो फाइनेंस स्पेशल चीफ सेक्रेटरी हैं के रामकृष्ण राव, he had to fly to New Delhi to convince the Union Finance Ministry to allow the state to raise OMBs to meet its financial commitments, especially related to the welfare programs and their yojnas. And the visit was followed by BY Chief Secretary और सोमेश कुमार मीटिंग विद यूनियन फाइनेंस मिनिस्ट्री, जिसके बाद आप कह सकते हो दैट यूनियन गवर्नमेंट ने कुछ रिस्ट्रिक्शंस को रिलैक्स किया है एंड अलाउ किया है दैट स्टेट कैन हैव दी 39,000 crores OMBs for the fiscal year. This means that there was a reduction of close to 20,000 crore from the projected 59,000 crore receipt, right? So it can be a huge challenge for Telangana state government and the state, depending on the financial accommodation instruments provided by RBI to meet its requirement, right? तो आपको इन चीज़ों पे फोकस करना है। नाउ हमने सैलरी इशू की बात की ना, what exactly is this issue? So the difficulty which state is facing in raising the resources could be seen from the fact that government had to make a payment of salaries to its employees in the staggered manner rather than releasing the entire amount in one go, right? Officials are also pinning their hopes of significant improvement in the revenue receipt in the next 3 months so that they can handle the situation, and this can be used for the public good only, right? So these were the important news for the day, and what you need to remember here is that when we talk about the newspaper analysis session, जो भी न्यूज़ यहाँ पे कवर होती हैं, they are the most important news from that day's newspaper, and they are mainly important from the examination point of view. I hope I was able to make you understand all the news that we covered in today's newspaper analysis session. If yes, what you need to do is like the video, share the video, subscribe the channel, and most important, don't forget to press the bell icon so that you can get the notification of all the upcoming videos. So bye everyone, bye bye, take care, stay safe, stay healthy. Thank you for watching.